Ditka?
Hey. You're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
If we can focus, keep discipline, and not have quite as many mysterious deaths, Sunnydale is gonna rule!
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 67 of GrrArghCast, the only spoiler-free Buffy and Angel podcast for newbies and aficionados alike. I am Brandon Ellison.
And I can't believe we're starting like this again, Brandon.
One of these days I'm going to get my shit together.
Rose, and Brandon will one day get his shit together. Because,
Listen, life. It's all I'm saying. Life. We are here. Jewel, we have seen a lot of each other in the last week. Way more than normal.
Like a disgusting amount.
Yeah, like Jewel and I on Sunday, on Saturday I flew out to LA. On Sunday, Jewel and I went to Torrance High School where they filmed Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We did a whole tour of the campus. We got a lot of pictures. We got a lot of video.
We didn't do a whole tour of the campus. You couldn't go inside.
We walked around the campus, except that I don't even mean that because we tried to walk around the campus and Jewel was wearing heels, so we did not do that. But we were there. Is the point? I was
supposed to dress. I didn't know. I looked cute.
She was very cute.
Sarah Collison was there. She remembers how cute I looked.
Sarah Collison drove up from San Diego to see us. We were hanging out with Nikki Brendan and a whole bunch of other Buffy fans. I had a great time. We were a little taken aback when people knew who we were.
Oh my god! She called my name and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Yeah. And there were quite a few other people that were there that were like, "Oh, you guys have the podcast." And I'm like, please, okay. Yeah, it was kind of weird. And Jewel and I have both worked in the entertainment industry for a long time, so we're used to being around people who get recognized. But we're not used to getting recognized.
No, it was so weird. Sarah, thank you. Sarah said to me probably one of the most incredible things any other human has ever said to me in existence. And for me, it's just the perfect thing to say anytime you see me. She said, what did she say? She said, "Oh my God, you're so much more beautiful in person." And I was like, "Oh, thank you."
It was an amazing experience.
And also it was perfect timing because I was having a moment.
Exactly. And then a couple days later, we met up in Santa Monica and we walked around and took pictures. I got a lot of interviews in from fans and others that will be cutting into future episodes. I knocked out quite a few while we were there. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. On our Patreon page, I'll be posting a lot of stuff before it goes on the show, so check it out. Jewel, what have you been listening to, watching, consuming this week?
I watched Into the Heights last night, and oh my God.
I did too! It was great!
Stop.
It was great! I don't get Hamilton. I don't like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I find him generally obnoxious in most things. I loved In the Heights.
Your tongue.
I don't know what to tell you. I loved In the Heights. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was charming. I thought it was sweet. And I thought the music was okay. And I loved it.
Listen,
can't sing a song right now from it, but I loved it.
No, couldn't sing a song. But I can sing a bunch of different songs from Hamilton. I think you're totally wrong about Hamilton. Eliza and Penny, the Schuyler sisters.
Her name is Peggy.
Whatever her name is. It's a great song.
Yes. In the Heights was great. I agree entirely. I was shocked that I liked it. It's just so not my sort of thing.
It's totally mine. I love that Rent movie. Oh, I love a musical.
You do love a Rent movie. We talked about that, I believe, at dinner.
Yes, we did. I met a friend of Brandon's who is very nice and has a very large mouth.
And this will be cut out of the podcast, and a beautiful apartment.
Oh my God, he has the most beautiful apartment ever. First of all, he's a very nice guy, and I would love to be his friend. But also, I would just really be his friend for his apartment.
Yes. Yeah.
I would be that.
I have been friends with this guy for a very long time, but I enjoyed staying in this apartment. I also stayed, Yvette, who's actually co-hosted the show with us before, Side Babe. I stayed at her place for a night as well, and also lovely house, great locate, near USC. I had a great time in LA. The first day was rough. The first day, kind of everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But I had the rest of the time I was there was quite lovely. I still don't know why people choose to live in Los Angeles. It doesn't make any sense to me, but
You
good
and
for
I
you.
did some walking too. I saw you 3 times. I didn't realize. I saw you every day that you were there.
Yeah, pretty wild.
And then drove you to the airport. And drove you.
Your mother.
My mother.
Yes, your mother, who is my favorite person.
Isn't she the cutest thing on the
she
planet? It
is
was her
the
birthday this week. Everyone wish her happy birthday.
Yes. Everyone say happy birthday to Kate Rose. So, I'm trying to think, what else have I... I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, whatever. And I've been watching MODOK on Hulu. So these are nerd things Jewel doesn't give a shit about.
Oh, I've been watching Dollface. Have you seen this? It's with
I have not.
what's her name? The girl with the 2 broke girls with the brown broke girl. Brown hair broke girl. Kat Dennings.
Okay. Kat Dennings from WandaVision.
Kat Dennings, yes. Shay Mitchell, Brenda Song. It's so good. This is
Brenda Song from Disney stuff.
Yes. And also from having Macaulay Culkin's baby.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I remember this. She's much younger than him, right?
Yeah, she also used to be... I remember she was in a relationship with Miley Cyrus's very tattooed brother. Trace, the excessively tattooed one.
Yes, I am up to date on my Miley trivia, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So that is what has been going on. I don't think I've watched anything else. Oh, the trailer for The Eyes of Tammy Faye came out, and it's my new favorite thing, and I haven't even seen it yet. Jessica Chastain playing Tammy Faye Baker, the famous televangelist from the 80s.
I didn't know she had this in her. Like, I knew she was a good actress. She's like... This is going to be great. She's just give all the awards to this movie because it looks amazing. And I'm really, really, really excited to see it. Also excited to see, speaking of Lin-Manuel Miranda, Tick, Tick, Boom, the other musical that Jonathan Larson from Rent wrote. Lin-Manuel Miranda's directing a film version of it. And the trailer just launched like yesterday. Yes, with Andrew Garfield.
With Andrew Garfield.
Great.
I am super jazzed for both of those movies coming up. But... we got a show to talk about. We have content to talk about that already exists. And before we get into it, I decided that we haven't had a guest host in a while. It's been a good long while. We wanted to streamline the show, make the episodes a little bit shorter and a little less so we've been kind of just doing me and Jewel for a while. For these episodes, they're very important to Buffy fans. Both of them are very important to Buffy fans. So I decided that I would bring somebody on. So we have Naomi, our wonderful, artistic designer, social media person that helps us out with everything. Really the person who does 80% of the work on the show, if we're being completely honest. Naomi's here. Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Naomi. Hey, girl. Hey.
So, Naomi, we're talking this week about I Was Made to Love You and The Body.
I'm gonna try not to cry.
These are heavy episodes. I normally come up with a nice little funny sort of thing to say about the episodes in the descriptions, and then I take those and just plug them into our podcast hosting service. I have nothing funny to say about these episodes.
No.
Holy goddamn it, we're about to go through a journey.
I don't want to go on this journey. I don't feel prepared today.
Well, here we are. The first episode... Oh, and it's a double Buffy this week, which you know what that means, Jewel. Next week, it's a double Angel.
No, it's not.
It is.
Yes.
Why?
Because we have to catch up on the storyline, because there's crossovers.
So that everything evens out.
Curb your enthusiasm, Jewel.
I'm so not pleased.
Well, that's okay. Let's talk about I Was Made to Love You. An odd girl who turns out to be a robot roams Sunnydale looking for her boyfriend Warren, becoming violent when impeded, and especially when he tells her that he's in love with someone else. Spike asks Warren to create a robot of Buffy for him, and then other shit happens. So this episode is creepy, right? Can we agree that this is a creepy episode?
In a lot of ways.
It's fucking weird, man.
It is fucking weird. Episode opens with Buffy ranting about her problems while punching this sumo suited, sumo inflatable whatever bodysuit that Xander's wearing. And he's like, hey, maybe you can't find a decent guy because we literally live on the mouth of hell. Maybe that's the problem. And Buffy's weirdly enough, the show to me, Riley leaves, and then we have a couple episodes that aren't at all about like Buffy coping with Riley leaving, and then this episode it like hits her hard.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting turn to me. Like it almost felt like these two episodes would have been better right after Riley left. Mm-hmm. Because we've had a lot of bumps since then. But then we wouldn't have gotten the episode Crush, which is Jules' favorite episode so far.
Well, I think also she's like mad about Riley now too, because didn't that thing happen with Ben when he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go to coffee," and then she was like, "No, we're not."
Yeah.
And so she's like now she's like processing the Riley of it all. So I think actually like now her being upset makes sense.
Sure. And then we pan over to this young, very pretty girl arriving in Sunnydale, and she's going around asking people if they've seen her boyfriend Warren. I'm looking for Warren. Do you know where Warren is? And everybody's kind of either...
I have to tell you, though, like, after, like, the 17th time, I was like, I don't think Warren is a word anymore.
Started to lose its meaning.
I was like, I can't hear that word. I can't hear anyone say that ever again and take it seriously.
Oh, well, you're going to be sorely disappointed next week.
Unfortunately, Warren will be around quite a bit, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say that. Yeah. And in fact, is just awful. But intentionally so. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she's going around and she's saying, have you seen my boyfriend? Have you seen my boyfriend? That Anya and Tara are talking about like Anya's knowledge of stock trading and websites and that sort of thing. April walks up to them and says, "Hey, do you know where Warren is?" And then she's like, "No, we don't know who she is, whatever." And then she walks off and asks these like random people the same question. We go over to this party. It's like a campus party. Anya, Tara, Willow are watching Buffy and Xander dance. Buffy sees Ben and she like catches his attention and they chat and then they dance a little bit. Ben is very cute. I know that neither of you seem to be particularly.
He's like too hot.
I don't think he's that hot. I think he just looks too much like George from Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
I think
how much of that has to do with him being a doctor?
If you see him
and
with
the haircut.
If you see him with a different haircut. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you see him with a different haircut, it's like it's all cheekbones and muscles but it's like too much.
What else has he done in life, this actor?
That's a good question. I know the answer to that. I just forgot. So I'm going to look him up. His name is Charlie Weber. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff, including a movie that I love called Broken Hearts Club, which is about a gay baseball team. So,
oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, Brandon. Why haven't we ever?
We have never talked about this movie. It's Dean. What's his name? Dean Cain.
Dean Cain.
Zach Braff.
Timothy Oliphant.
They're all baseball players on this gay baseball team.
The guy who started a cult, Andrew Keegan.
Yes, Andrew Keegan, the dad from Frasier, isn't it?
Dad from Frasier. Oh my god, there is just, you have no idea. It is everyone. It is so fucking good.
Oh, Charlie Weber is a regular on How to Get Away with Murder. He plays Frank Delfino on How to Get Away with Murder. A show that I don't watch. That's Ben.
I haven't seen that one.
He grew up so, like, wow.
Well, I'll tell you, I've never seen it, but I opened his IMDb page just now, and hubba.
Yeah, no, he got
Holy
like,
heck.
as he aged, he got better looking.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think he's cute on Buffy. I thought you liked How to Get Away with Murder.
I don't actually like it, but I know who that character is, and wow. And just to piggyback on that, Brandon saw photos of me in my younger days, and he also said to me, "Joel, you're so much prettier now."
She was an odd duck. She kind of looked like Ashley Simpson back in the day. It was an odd duck.
Why would you say that?
Apparently, Charlie Weber was also on Everwood and Charmed, according to Emma, who's watching the show live.
Can you post those pictures on the Patreon page, please?
1,000%. I will post non-stop photos.
You don't have any photos of me. Did you? What?
Oh, I thought you would. I'm sorry. I'm all on this hot guy from How to Get Away with Murder.
Of Jewel.
Of Jewel in high school. Yes, Jewel, we want to see those. Or whatever, those younger pictures. Because you look so much better now. And I'll post pictures of me back in the day when I actually looked way better then. This has not... I've aged like milk. Anyway.
I thought I was so hot, too.
Back to the show. So Anya and is hanging out with Xander, and I love the scene where she's talking about the Chex Mix. She's convinced that it's individually knit, like crocheted or whatever.
Or craftsmanship.
Yes, exactly. And April shows up. April is the girl that's looking for Warren, and Warren is at the party, but he runs off with
some girl.
With this other girl. Yes.
Her name is Katrinka or something.
Her name is Katrina. Yes, and she also comes back onto the show. And April's going and asking all these people, like, have you seen Warren? He's my boyfriend. He lost me. And Tara is pretty concerned about her relationship with Willow, because Willow's like, yeah, pretty girl like that's not going to be alone for long. Which, creepy line clearly written by a man.
So creepy.
And Jewel, what did you say? You messaged me at that point. You were like, something like, why is Tara so insecure? Or something.
Yes, I did.
You
I
hate
was
Tara
like,
for no reason.
What is her deal? Why is she so insecure about everything Willow does? She's like afraid of her own shadow.
Right.
I think maybe Tara, it just like hits a little closer to home.
For knowing what I've learned about you in the last week, I do think that's accurate.
Oh my god, that's why I hate her so much. It's because of me.
Because it's you. That explains a lot.
It's been a week.
Spike walks up to Buffy while she's like standing there waiting, and she's like, please go away, like whatever. And he's just trying to be like, why'd you put your tongue in the little hat? Like he's trying to be, he tried the like nice flirtation thing, and now he's trying the weird like teasing her and then walking away thing.
Really creepy though.
Soup's creepy.
It's not my favorite version of Spike.
No. And then Ben comes back and gives Buffy his number for a coffee date. And Buffy's like, I have really bad history with coffee. Sometimes we get coffee and then it ends with you leaving the country or whatever. And then Spike hits on April, the robot girl, because he's trying to make Buffy jealous because Buffy's sitting on Ben. And he whispers something filthy in her ear, and she picks him up by the neck and throws him out a window, which is your favorite scene of the episode, right, Joel?
So good.
And everybody's...
How many times have you wanted to do that? I was at a party this weekend.
Yes.
All vaccinated. But there was a gentleman who, like, I don't know what happened to him, but he thought it'd be a great idea to talk to me. And he said to me, he gave me his top 10 favorite bands in chronological order and why. And if I didn't know the band, he sang part of the song, cornered me for about 45 minutes. I was like, read a room. This
sounds like something I would do
like
with
nobody
you.
Cares. Nobody cares.
All the time. I'm like, hey, remember this 90s band, Joel? And you're like, no. And then I'm like, BB Mac. And you're like, no. And I'm like, until you're back here, baby. And then you're like, yeah, I know them now. I do this to you all the time, but I don't corner you at a party.
I mean, for 45 minutes. Like,
I have done it way longer than that.
Listen, I got cornered at my own wedding by the same woman 3 times. Let me just tell you, it's like the most uncomfortable thing, right? You're like, just go away.
I don't want to talk to you. Why do you think I want to talk to you when I have friends over there?
Yep.
I don't want to talk to you.
Maybe it's just because I don't know. Maybe it's like toxic masculinity or whatever, but I just don't get cornered in places. I just I just push through.
You just walk away?
I just walk away. I do it all the time. I do it constantly. If people are talking to me, I'm like, I gotta go do something, and I leave. Yeah. Well, that's true. They do
stand in a corner.
Yeah. I think a lot of, especially because I hang out at gay bars and stuff, I think a lot of gay men are intimidated by me because I'm a physically large person, and because I'm very, loud and boisterous and outgoing and whatever, and I think that, that has saved me from being, confronted at a party.
No, it doesn't save me.
That's true. But you're not, but you're also not 5'11" and 240 pounds, so, there's that. I'm going to cut that out of the podcast.
Why are we talking about such horrendous things?
I know, let's never do that again.
We have so much more important things to talk about.
We sure do. So Buffy goes up to April, and she's, amused that April threw Spike through a window. And she's like, yeah, just, pretty cool, but maybe you shouldn't do that to people. And then she, knocks Buffy over and hurts her. Actually hurts Buffy, which is a very difficult thing to do, as we've learned. So we're at Xander's apartment. The gang immediately, all at once in unison, decide that she's a robot. Yes, we know she's a robot. And they are they don't see her as a threat, but they do realize they have to track down Warren, or else somebody could actually get hurt that they care about. Buffy goes home, and Giles has been watching Dawn, and he's miserable. He's like, we listened to pop songs sung by people who were chosen for their dancing abilities. Like, it's great. He hates it so much, and it's great to watch him interact with her. Joyce has been on a date, and she comes back, and she's in a really good mood. And she talks about how she left her bra in the guy's car, and then she's like, no, I left it on the dessert cart. Like, I love single moms dating. Been there.
I mean, I'm feeling her. It's hot girl summer. I am dating too, Joyce. I feel you on this.
Yes, exactly. April is going door to door in the neighborhood looking for Warren's house. Willow finds out that Warren lives in this particular house and that they went to school together, but none of them really knew him. And they talk about
that one experience with him, right?
No, they've never met him before.
Yeah, they don't know him.
Yeah. You might be thinking of Tucker, the guy that summoned the Hellhounds to the prom.
Yes.
Who is the brother of another character that's coming later. But anyway, we're good. So the gang is talking about Warren and how, like, April fills this void in his life. Buffy calls Ben. The phone rings, and Glory is turning into Ben, because now we see that Glory and Ben share a body. And she goes to answer the phone. Ben answers the phone, and they make a date for coffee. Warren is getting packed and trying to get out of the house with Katrina in a panic, because he's like, like, we have to go, like this. And she's like, is this about your ex? And it's pretty bonkers. And Buffy shows up, and Katrina, and like, Buffy has all these questions about April, about the robot, and Katrina's like, tell me what's going on. And he's such a fucking asshole. He's like, get out, go.
He literally tells her to shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up, Katrina.
I would like to see someone try to tell me to shut up.
And Adam Bush, for the record, who plays Warren, super sweet guy, did our trivia event, hates the character of Warren, but plays a creep really fucking well.
Yeah.
Good actor. And he tells Buffy that, he built this robot. He wanted her to be the perfect girlfriend. He programmed her so that everything she does is the perfect girlfriend. And then he's like, but I didn't fall in love with her. I grew bored with her because she's so predictable and things are so easy. And then he meets this girl, Katrina, and instead of breaking up with April or deactivating her or whatever, he leaves her in the dorm room and lets her batteries run out. Story of my life.
Are you fucking kidding me?
When you say story of your life, do you mean that you do that to other people?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I mean, I've been left in many a dorm room with my batteries draining. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Emma also would like to point out real quick that Adam Bush, who plays Warren, and Amber Benson, who plays Tara, used to date for quite some time, actually.
Which is super weird.
Super weird, especially as we learn later.
Yep.
Buffy asks Warren if Katrina's dangerous, and Warren says, well, she's programmed only to love me unconditionally, and Buffy says, well, then she's dangerous. Which is heavy.
Yeah.
Yeesh. So the Scoobies are all back at the magic.
He created the perfect woman, by all intents and purposes, the perfect woman, and she still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Are you fucking...
So the Scoobies are at the magic store. Spike shows up, and everyone is like hostile toward him, including Dawn. And he's like, "Let me explain what happened with Drusilla." Which is very fun. Is this the episode... I watched this 2 weeks ago because we were going to do this last week. Is this the episode where Spike runs in the magic shop with the blanket on and then he throws it on the ground? Yeah. Fucking hilarious. And nobody cares. Yeah.
No.
So
Giles goes all daddy on... Like,
100%.
Like, protector.
Yeah. We are not your friends and we're not going to help you get with Buffy.
Zaddy?
Zaddy is like...
Goes all daddy.
Yes. Well, yeah, but zaddy means like, I don't know what zaddy means. To me, it means like, just like a gay daddy. Like zaddy.
But yeah, but he went all like protective father figure.
Yes. And then he kicks Spike out, and Spike leaves. So Katrina's hanging out at a park. This is Warren's new girlfriend. And April, the robot, shows up. And Katrina says, Warren is my boyfriend. And April goes into like attack mode. And like
like hurts her.
Grabs her by the back of her neck and
thought
holds her
she
up
was
above the ground.
Done.
Yeah.
Before. I was like, "Ooh, she's gonna snap it."
And then Warren and Buffy show up, and April, the robot, is like, "This girl lied to me, and now she fell asleep." Fucked.
It's so sad from like the robot's perspective. The whole thing makes me so sad.
Me too. Warren tells April like it's not her, like, I don't love you, and then she starts growling and her eyes turn red, and then he points at Buffy and goes, I love her. and April robot has, you see the like perspective of her, and she has all her sex positions on her like programming menu, and then she goes into like attack mode. And Buffy says, "You made her growl." And they fight.
He's a sick fuck. What do you think he did to that robot?
You're not wrong.
He sexed her. He built her as a sex robot, 100%.
It's the nicest way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like way worse than that. Like a sex and love robot, which is way, way, way worse. Yeah. So Buffy and April are fighting. Buffy, it's a pretty formidable fight. Like they're both going full blow at this thing. Like Buffy has had way less dangerous fights with way seemingly more dangerous
Worms
people.
And penis folk.
Worms and penis worms. And mummy girls. And then Buffy damages April's like electrical work, and she stops. And Buffy and April are sitting in these swings.
I know.
And they're having this conversation, and April's like, I just was trying to be the perfect girlfriend. Like, maybe this is a test. Like, maybe he'll come back and get me if I sit here and I'm a good girlfriend. And then, as you can see that her batteries are draining, she's like, it's dark out. It's like the middle of the day.
It's getting dark out.
It's getting dark.
It's early to be getting dark.
Yeah. And then it's so fucking sad. And she's like giving those like live, laugh, love like things that white college girls have framed on their walls. Like there's every cloud has a silver lining, and it's just, and then she dies.
But the most important one, it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yes. Fucked. It's so sad. It's devastatingly sad.
You know, this episode just literally every feminist fire inside me just was.
Oh, I know. Furious.
So hard.
For sure.
Are
Furious.
you out? I mean, it also, why can't you choose your sexuality? Because at this point, I would like to make a choice in life because I identified so hard with the sad robot.
Me too.
Oh.
Me too. Wow. She did everything right. And it wasn't enough.
And it still wasn't enough. Are you fucking kidding me? This is why men should not be in charge of anything at all. I'm just sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, it's like the saddest robot. I mean,
this is horrific. Can you imagine?
Well, and then Buffy is like, she is like really trying to. So she goes back to Xander. Sorry, she goes back to Xander, and Xander's like, "Oh yeah, crazy robot," and she's like, "No, she's not a crazy robot. Like, she did everything right."
Not. She did everything.
She did
right.
what she was programmed for.
Left. She did everything he asked of her, and still.
And it wasn't enough.
And it wasn't enough. How on earth do you people of the male species?
Don't generalize.
Hashtag not all men.
Yes. No.
But I'm guilty of a lot of this shit too. But at least I'm honest with people. I never like lead them into thinking that I'm trying to marry them. Or I've never built a sex robot. So if I did, it would look a lot like Timothy Chalamet.
Of course it would.
I don't get it. What is going on with the Chalamet? I think he looks like a prepubescent boy. He doesn't even have a hair on his chest.
Anyway, so Buffy calls Ben and leaves a message on his answering machine saying, like, it's not good time for me for coffee right now. Like, this isn't going to work. And Glory hears the message and is like, what is going on with Ben and Buffy? So Glory now knows that Ben and Buffy.
And she said something like, she doesn't want to see us? Or
yes, exactly.
She's like really hurt.
Yeah, she's offended.
But but Buffy's like, no, I just need to be on my own. Hashtag cookie dough, by the way.
So Warren's in his. Oh yeah.
Cookie dough. What is
The Buffy.
We'll get there.
The Buffy line thing about like she's not ready yet. She's just cookie dough.
That's not till the very
that hasn't
end.
happened yet. Never mind.
No, it's like in the
So Spike shows up at Warren's house and says, "You're making me a robot." And he's like, "I don't do this anymore, like whatever." And he's like, "You're doing one more." And he brings the box of the torn down mannequin that was Buffy in his basement and a whole bunch of pictures of Buffy and like clothes and other things. And so, there might be a future storyline for that one. Buffy goes home. But Buffy goes home and she sees on the table, like the side table, that the man that Joyce had gone on a date with sent flowers to her. And she calls upstairs to see if Dawn needs to be picked up. And nobody answers. And she looks into the little living room there. And Joyce is on the couch, dead. And let's talk about the body next.
Oh my god, my heart is
one miserable
already.
thing at a time. I have goosebumps. Jewel is angry that I made her watch these episodes, by the way, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I'm not.
We'll get to that.
Jewel, you're like my husband, Rocco. He doesn't like feeling feelings, and so he gets angry.
Yeah.
I don't mind
when he's
feeling
made
the
to feel
feelings,
sad.
but I get mad first, and then I feel the feelings. Like this one for me, like this is my worst nightmare. I absolutely not. This I am furious. I'm furious that was brought into my realm of knowledge that this could happen, and I don't like it.
So a little bit of trivia before we move on to our next episode. Joss Whedon wrote the character of April the robot. I'm sorry. Joss Whedon wrote the character of April the robot for Britney Spears. The role was written for Britney Spears to play the robot. And she read the script and she turned it down because she wanted to be someone... She wanted to be on the show badly, but she wanted to hang out with the group, with the Scoobies, instead of be like this sex slave robot thing.
Well,
I'm glad she didn't, because that poor woman has been through enough.
She would have been great, though.
She would have been great.
She would have been real good. I mean, I've seen Crossroads.
That was such a good movie.
Was it?
I've never seen it, actually. But the woman who does play April was fabulous at it. She did a really good job. Really good job.
David Fury was asked, he was the producer on the show, was asked about the incredible technological abilities of Sunnydale residents, like reanimating the dead and the episodes Ted and I Was Made to Love You with like lifelike robots.
Yeah.
And Joss Whedon said, "You're way overthinking it. The Hellmouth should be able to provide us with anything we want to do. The energy that comes out of it makes mad scientists out of humans who then go ahead and create something evil." Which, sounds, you know what that sounds like to me? Hashtag acceptance. The final scene was added by Joss Whedon after this episode was filmed. It was just supposed to end with Spike asking Warren to make a robot out of Buffy. So Joss decided to add that scene at the end. International titles. The French title is Chagrin d'amour, or Heartache. No. And the German title is Auf Liebe programmiert, or Program to Love.
No.
I like it. No. So before we move to our next episode, discounting the final scene of this one, final thoughts, letter rating. Let's start with our guest Naomi on I Was Made to Love You.
I think normally I don't even think much about this episode because, I mean, I always watch it in order, but it just, to me, it just leads into the next, I don't know. It's a great episode. I mean, I don't know. I guess I give it like a B plus, A minus, maybe.
Okay.
B minus, A plus. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, B plus, A minus. Joel.
Words.
Okay, well, the context was terrible. It was horrible. I'm so grossed out by this storyline. However, I think it's a story that was well said and talks about what kind of toxic masculinity was living in the 90s and, finally has started to label itself today. I don't like this episode. It wasn't an enjoyable episode. It frustrated me to no
Do you think
end.
It's a good episode?
I think it is a good episode, and I do think it is well done. Does it make me want to hate the male species? Yeah, a little bit.
That's pretty effective then.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your letter rating on this one?
It's like a B minus.
Okay. I watch this episode a lot. This is one that I always watch on repeat when I rewatch the show. Like, I really sit down and pay attention to this one. I think it's very funny. I think that there's a lot of interesting dynamics. I think April is fabulous. I think the actress is amazing. I love the stuff with Spike trying to explain the Drusilla situation to the Scoobies. That the final scene with Buffy and April on the swings is devastating. I mean, heartbreakingly sad.
Oh my God.
Beautifully written. I am going to give this episode an A minus. It's really great. Jewel, before we get into the torture that is our next episode, let's talk about our Patreon. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/GAC podcast. If you join us, it's $5 a month. You get exclusive access to bonus content. You get to be in our private Facebook group where we spill the tea on all kinds of stuff, and share air fryer recipes and random other things. I believe that we had a Mormon appetizer. We taught everyone how to make funeral potatoes, which I learned as a young Mormon were the best things in the world. And we have a good time. Also, you'll be able to interact with us on every episode of the show and ask questions to our guests when we have guest interviews on. So please join us, $5 a month, patreon.com/GAC podcast. One other thing, Jewel and I have had some very interesting offers in the world of fandom in the last couple weeks that we're very excited for. We need to get our presence up on the podcast hosting site. So if you could, I'll put a link in the comments. Please leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast, because we need to get those up. We have a lot of listeners, but they don't leave a lot of reviews, and we never remind them to, so it's really our fault if you think about it.
Leave a review.
Just leave a review, and if you don't like the show, don't leave a review. Only
good reviews.
Only good reviews, because, I mean, we do our best. And that's all I got. That's all I got. So thank you guys so much. And now we get to talk about the body.
You don't want to
This is not going to be easy. Buffy and her friends are overwhelmed with grief and their lives are changed forever when they must deal with the loss of someone close to all of them. So this episode picks up exactly where the last one left off.
Sure does.
Yeah. And Buffy's home. She sees her mom on the couch. Her mom is dead. From the beginning, this episode is so different than every other episode of the show. Like markedly different in so many ways. Some that immediately come to mind are a lot of things are shot as one shot. There'll be several minutes of just one shot tracking people's faces and that sort of thing. There's a lot of things that are filmed out of focus or from a side angle to try to give this like realist sort of vibe. There is no music in the entire episode other than the opening theme song. None.
Which I felt, it was very jarring when that song started.
Yeah.
They could
Very,
have
very
left
jarring.
it out of that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But
But it's worth it because the transition from the opening theme song into the scene where they're all at Thanksgiving and everything is okay,
right,
is like, it disarms you. Like you said, it's jarring, it's disarming. You're like, oh, okay, like, whatever.
I was gonna say, I mean, I've watched it countless times, and I still always forget about the Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. Mm-hmm. I always forget that scene.
Where Anya explains that Santa is real, but he doesn't so much deliver
Right.
gifts as eat children.
Yes, yeah. But I always forget that that's a thing, like, that
Yeah.
it's in there.
So we have this weird like flashback to this thing, and then Buffy is running over to her mom and trying to revive her. She's calling 911. The operator is like walking her through CPR, and Buffy's trying to give her mom CPR, but breaks her rib.
So strong.
Which actually means that you're doing CPR right if you break a rib, actually. But yes.
It's normal. That's
yeah.
okay.
So they're waiting for this medical team to come, and so Buffy is trying to do the CPR thing, and then Buffy tells the operator she's cold. And the operator says, the body's cold, and Buffy says, no, my mom is cold. So Buffy hangs up when the 911 operator is still talking. Buffy hangs up on her and calls Giles and says she's at the house. You have to come here. She's at the house, and hangs up. Doesn't tell him anything else. She is in pure shock. The paramedics show up and they try to revive Joyce, and Buffy's they're asking Buffy all kinds of questions about what happened, and then Joyce starts coughing, and she's fine, and they're in the ambulance, and they're driving away, and Joyce says, like, I'm so happy you found me in time, and the doctor says, like, it's so great that you were there, it's a miracle, and then we pan back to Joyce being dead, and it's just a fantasy that Buffy had. And Jewel actually texted me while she was watching the episode live, and she says, oh, she's okay, and then she's like, oh, never mind. Very upsetting. Yeah. Very, very upsetting. And
I love it.
And so the paramedics are trying to resuscitate Joyce still. They get no response, and they basically say we have to call it. Like, she's dead. She's dead. She's not coming back. You need to blah 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 blah. Don't disturb the body. Don't whatever. And Buffy is and one of the paramedics also explains that it could have been complications from her brain tumor, because Buffy explained that she had the brain tumor, whatever, and that the coroner was going to come over. So they get a call to go to another address, and they leave.
And she says, "Good luck."
Good luck. Yeah. Which, I mean, what else do you say?
Because you're just like in another world. I mean,
really, what happens? They just leave you there with a dead body.
What else are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Take it to the hospital.
That's not their job.
It's a different thing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not their job.
Yeah. My stepdad died on New Year's Eve, and his body ended up being taken to the fire station to wait for the people to pick it up because it was in a car. Yeah. He died in a car crash. So, it's really weird because you would think there would be this, like, reverence for the body, but that's just us. It's like you have to wait for a coroner if there's going to be an autopsy, and you have to wait for the funeral home if there's going to be a funeral. Like, it doesn't... The paramedics are done when there's a body. Yeah. When it ain't going to happen.
It's not their job.
I love that.
Yeah. So Giles... first... Okay, so this is actually, to me, one of the best scenes of the whole episode. Buffy goes into the hallway, throws up in the hallway, soaks it up, just stares at it. It's very long, lingering stares, and she just, like, doesn't know how to process it. The scene where she opens the back door and she hears bells and cars and people playing and life continuing. When you go through something like this, and at least in my experience, I think it's so accurate because you kind of resent other people for being able to have just live their lives normally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Emma says children's laughter. Yeah, exactly. It's very upsetting when I was driving to the funeral home to sign all the papers for cremation stuff for my stepdad, and I drove past like a football game, like in Texas, like a football game, and all these people showing up for a football game, and I'm like, fuck all of, like, what do you do? Like, like, it's irrational, but it's just how you feel about things, and that scene more than anything else in this whole episode stands out to me as the most relatable bit in this. So anyway, Giles shows up, and Giles, when Buffy said she's at the house, Giles assumed that Glory was there and that Glory attacked. And Giles goes over and tries to help Joyce because she's like, his initial thought is Giles, Glory showed up. And Buffy is like, don't. We can't touch her. We can't do that. They said not to touch the body.
We're not supposed to touch the body.
We're not supposed to touch the body.
The look on her face, if I'm not already sobbing, the look on her face when she realizes that she's just called her mother the body.
The body, it's fucked.
It's too much. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. It's that, and when you start talking about a dead person for the first time in the past tense,
yep,
it's the worst.
So
Buffy, tells him that. Giles goes over to hug her. The coroner shows up and puts Joyce's body in a body bag. And then we pan over to Sunnydale High, or Junior High, rather. And Dawn is crying in the bathroom because a boy called her a freak. And because this other girl had been spreading rumors that she was a cutter. And Dawn's friend is, like, trying to console her. They leave the bathroom. They go to this art class. And Dawn, says hi to that bitchy girl like you do when you're having a spat in high school, where you're just like, hi, oh my god, it's so nice to see you, fucking bitch. I do that constantly, regularly. Aren't you great? And Dawn is there, and she's sitting next to this boy Kevin that called her a freak, and they're having this, like, really interesting talk, and he's saying, like, no, I'm really interested in you, like, I had a lot of problems for a while too, whatever, like, Kirsty's a bitch, etc. And everything is like normal high school drama, and then everything changes. Buffy shows up. Comes in the classroom, pulls Dawn into the hallway. Dawn is like, "What's going on? Why are you here? Whatever. Where's mom? Mom's supposed to be picking me up. Why are you here?" And then Buffy starts to explain to her, like, there's been an accident, something happened. And
But
Dawn's
she's
like,
okay.
She's okay.
It's
She's
bad,
okay.
but
It's going to
she's
be okay. Yeah. And then we're back inside the art room looking into the hallway, and we can't hear them anymore, but we see Dawn just break down and start crying. And and yes, Emma's correct. The classmates are watching, and it's so upsetting.
And you can actually still hear them,
Yeah.
but just hear like the.
And if you
scream,
watch
like,
the episode with
"No!"
subtitles, you can hear you can read what they're saying. I watch everything with subtitles. Dawn, Buffy was clearly trying to get Dawn to go further, but Dawn was like, "No, you need to tell me what's happening here." It's very upsetting. And then we go to oh boy, and then we go to UC Sunnydale, and Willow and Tara are there waiting for Xander. Willow can't find the blue shirt that Joyce liked, and she's like, I don't want to make this all about me. I don't want to wear the wrong shirt. I don't want to wear something that looks like I'm a kid. Like Joyce loved this shirt. I don't want to wear something with flowers or whatever it was, flowers or whatever on it.
She's like, why are all my shirts so stupid? Why can't I just be an adult?
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And Tara's trying to console her and being like, you have to be there for Buffy, like whatever. And I went through this with my stepdad too. I told my brother that, like, I don't give a shit how you feel about anything right now. Like, you have to do the right thing. Buffy, they ask about Dawn, and Dawn, thinking about Dawn makes Willow cry. And Tara has the first same-sex lesbian kiss, I guess you just say lesbian kiss, on network television ever. In this episode, and it is treated like nothing, which I love.
Which is it was the perfect way to have that first.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. It is a beautiful way to do it. It is not made a big deal out of, because it's not about that. They're just a couple, and this is just what would happen. Exactly.
They're comforting. Yeah.
Yep. Xander and Anya show up. Xander double parks his car, and he doesn't care if he gets a ticket. They're all talking about what happened. Anya keeps asking these questions about what's going to happen, and nobody really knows the answer. Are they going to put us in the room with the body? Like, whatever, what happens now? Xander thinks that Glory's responsible for Joyce's death, and then everybody is saying, like, things just happen. Like, he's like, things don't happen. They don't just happen. And it's very like, you're looking for someone to blame when these huge traumatic events happen in your life, and that's the position Xander was in. Ace acting from all of everyone in the cast for this episode. So Willow is like, I'll fight you, whatever. And Tara's like, I'll go to the laundry room and try to find your shirt. Maybe it's down in the laundry room. So then is a scene where Anya is really trying to understand what's going on. And I actually have a little clip of that scene that I'm going to play right now.
The way you behave,
Nobody will tell me.
because it's not okay for you to be asking these things.
But I don't understand. I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid. It's mortal and stupid. And Xander's crying and not talking, and I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch, ever, and she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever, and no one will explain to me why.
Ouch. Fucking ouch.
I always feel like that her listing of like normal human things mirrors the dream episode, when Buffy is like, I do that, like I sneeze,
Yeah.
Do you know which one
Yeah.
I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's listing human things.
And Will was telling me, Jewel, that he talked to you about like the parallels of that scene and how autistic people process events and stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I don't remember what he said to you.
Okay, then I will, because we just talked about it like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like Will was saying that, because he works with a lot of autistic kids, And Will was saying that like the way that autistic people process things is they ask a bunch of questions and they don't really have like a filter about like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate to ask, and they don't have ways to process these things. And I never really made that parallel before. I don't know if that parallel is intentional, but it's a very interesting way to think about that character in this context. Is she has no idea what it's like to feel these emotions in the way that she's supposed to feel them, and she processes them in a different way. And I think of every scene in the episode, this is the best acted scene by far. This is the most devastating, heartbreaking scene. According to Sarah Collison, Emma Caulfield really had to pee during that scene, which probably helped her get through it.
Kind of ruins it, actually.
So yeah, and she's like, Willow is finally calmed down. She's like, we don't really know what's going on either. It's going to be okay. Anya goes and sits on this little chair, and she moves the couch cushions and the blue shirt's there, and she puts it in the dresser drawer. And everyone's silent, and then we hear a thump, and Xander's put his fist through the drywall, and he's really upset, and he's like, I don't know what was happening, I was da-da-da, and now ouch. And they pull his arm out, Tara shows up, and Anya says, Xander's decided he blames the wall. Which, great line. So they leave, and they're kind of looking at there's a big long cut on the blood on his hand. It's just that same brilliant directing as far as I'm concerned. And then
Tara says to him, like, it hurts. Like, and there's just like a meeting of eyes there. Like, it hurts. And he's like, yeah, it does, Yeah,
like, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they leave, and we see Xander getting a ticket on his double parked car. They all go meet up at the hospital. Everybody hugs, everybody's giving nice words. The doctor shows up and explains that her autopsy showed that she had an aneurysm from her brain surgery. She died quickly, there was almost no pain, and even if Buffy had been there was nothing she could have done. But Buffy kind of pictures this as him lying to her to make her feel better.
And he says, I have to lie to you to make you feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't actually say it, but...
Yeah, but she imagines him saying it, yeah. Giles is handling all the paperwork and the release forms and whatever, which, God, I wish I had someone to help me with that during my shit. And Dawn goes to the bathroom, and they're all talking about how Dawn's doing. Buffy thinks that Dawn is angry with her for being the one to tell her what happened. And Anya says to her, we really like Joyce, and I wish she didn't die, which is like the nicest thing that Anya could, like, it is the most genuine thing that Anya could say to her. Which
again works with that what Will was saying, the kind of autistic processing. Exactly.
And Buffy doesn't take it personally at all. While everyone else did in that scene, Buffy knows that Anya means it in a nice way. Yeah. Xander, Willow, and Anya go to the vending machines to get food and buy way too much food. And Buffy and Tara, they're sitting alone, and Buffy is like, everyone's trying to help me, but I can't even believe that it's happening. And Tara's like, yeah, my mom died when I was 17, and, I can help you. I'm here to whatever. They have this bonding moment where Tara hasn't really had that moment with Buffy yet, or really with any of them other than Willow. And you really get to see, like, Tara is the character that I think that I kind of am in this situation as well, where it's like someone has to, and Will said the same thing when he was dealing with his grandfather's death. Like, someone has to get shit done. Someone has to be there. Someone has to help people. Like, it might as well be me. And then, like, some of us, because we process things in that way, we don't seem like we're upset, but it's just like, we're doing this so we won't be upset,
Which is going to come up in the next Buffy episode. Yeah.
Exactly. So Buffy asks Tara if her mom's death was sudden, like Joyce's, and Tara says, no, it wasn't sudden, but all death is unexpected.
Yes. That one always gets me. I think about that one a lot. Like, exactly. No, but yes, it's always sudden.
Exactly. So Dawn leaves the bathroom, and she decides that she's going to go to the morgue to see Joyce's body. And she walks in, and she locks the door behind her. And she walks up to Joyce's covered body, and she reaches out to remove the sheet, but she can't do it. And a vampire is rising up, apparently for the first time, from one of the tables behind her.
A naked vampire.
He walks up to her, and she hears him, and she panics. And Buffy is like, Dawn should be back by now. So she goes to investigate. She finds the morgue. She sees Dawn and the vampire. She kicks the door in. She fights the vampire, and during the scuffle, the sheet that's covering Joyce is pulled down. Buffy cuts this vampire's head off, which, by the way, most of the Buffy vampire staking things are like fun and like, oh, look at all this karate stuff. This one is just upsetting. It's just really, it's really upsetting.
And they
Yeah.
and they said that they did that on purpose. They wanted it to be a like really struggle, violent slay, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Buffy, so Buffy cuts his head off. It's really violent. There's no sound effects. There's no punchy punches. There's no music. It's just cold.
Crack and pull.
And Buffy finds Dawn staring at Joyce's body and asks if Dawn asks if she's cold, and Buffy says that's not her anymore. And Dawn walks up and puts her fingers like right next to Joyce's cheek, like she's going to touch, and the episode ends.
Well, she says she's gone, and she says, "Where did she go?"
Exactly. Yeah. Bothersome. Very, very bothersome. Before we get into our final thoughts on this fucking thing, a little bit of trivia. There's no previously on Buffy thing at the beginning of this episode. It just goes right into it. James Marsters does not appear in this episode at all. Spike is not in this episode, but he gets his moment of mourning and grief in the next episode forever. Where were we? Sarah Michelle Gellar fought very, very hard to make Joyce not die. Like, she fought very hard against this decision. And it was very traumatic for them. I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, but I'll cut it from the podcast if I am. Nikki told me that Christine still has panic attacks from filming this episode, and that she got an infection when she was in Italy, and she wouldn't get in the ambulance because she remembered filming this episode so much. Like, yeah. So Christine Sutherland plays Joyce. But apparently Joss Whedon told her at the end of season 3 that her character would die in season 5. The idea of cutting the music is that music comforts the audience, and this episode was supposed to be touching and horrifying at the same time.
Well, it was achieved.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
And of all the time that she played a body in this episode, Christine Sutherland only blinked one time on camera, and they cut it out using CGI. So that's kind of, we all talked about this. International titles are pretty much all body, corpse, that sort of thing. The French title is Orphelines or Orphans. The German title is Tod einer Mutter, or Death of the Mother. And the Spanish title is Desolada, or Desolate.
All right, I'm just going to score it.
Okay,
I'm just going to do it because I want to be done, because I never want to speak of this episode ever again. It was beautifully shot. I understand all of the reasons why things were used in this episode. I was supremely uncomfortable. I was very angry and very upset, and I didn't like it. I'm giving it an A-, and I never want to speak of this episode again. I will never watch it again. I never want to even hear the word "the body" uttered.
Okay.
This was not a must-see episode for me. I could have gone my entire life not seeing this episode. Very well done. I will never watch it again.
Naomi.
I mean, it's an A+, obviously. And I have a related story. So, I went to school with a guy, very small little Jewish school where everybody was very close. And his dad died when we were in 2nd grade. And then when we were in high school, his mom died.
Oh my God.
Very suddenly. And he had a younger brother who was 4 years younger. And anyway, so his mom died in November of 2000, and I believe the body aired like January or February of 2001. So my parents used to watch Buffy with me. We were all, I mean, the comparisons to reality were just too much to bear. We were all just sobbing through the entire episode, and I think of him every time I watch it. Every single time I think of him.
Yeah.
I'm so upset just hearing that.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I so my thoughts on this episode are if you ever lose anyone close to you, you will relate to one of the characters on this. Each of the characters represents a different way that you handle these things. Some of us cycle through how the characters are reacting, the different characters are reacting. In that regard, I think it is beautifully done. I think it's beautifully shot. I think the acting is amazing. Anyone who says that Sarah Michelle Gellar can't act needs to watch this episode, because every single person delivers. She delivers. It is maybe okay. Not only is this one of my favorite Buffy episodes in terms of how good it is. I'm not saying I have fun watching it, but it's good. Not only I believe it might be the best written hour of television I've ever seen. I think that it is important. I think that it tells stories that need to be told. I think that it is lasting, and I give this an A+. And I also never want to watch it again. If I can, I hope I'm never in a position where I have to watch it again.
I can't ever do it again.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
It's all around. That's great.
I'm glad we got through it. We are working on some interviews and stuff that might correlate with this. We'll have Naomi Stidden for Jewel on those. What I want to do is, for our Patreon subscribers, I want to, in the next couple days, do like a Zoom call and get us all in there and kind of talk about our thoughts on this episode, because I think we all have stories to tell about this. So keep an eye out for that. Patreon.com/GAC podcast if you're not already a member. And that's all I got. Thank you, guys. Naomi, thank you so much for everything you do all the time, and also for joining us today. Jewel,
what are our next episodes?
Oh yeah, we're doing a double angel next week.
I was trying to look it up, and
I don't remember the names of either of them, but they're we'll post them on the Patreon page. So we have a double angel next week. Jewel, sorry that we put you through this torture. It's finally over. It's finally over. And thank you everybody for watching. Bye everyone. GrrArghCast. I need a hug.